Howdy y'all. Well, I'm just sitting here kind of working on some plans for the project that I want to do that I talked about in my last video. And on a side note, I'm doing it on a table that I made. Um, so yeah, I can do woodworking too. But no, so I just want to give you guys kind of a more in-depth look at this, alright? So on the right side, okay, so if you're going to be looking at it from the right side, you got your, use the pencil and focus here. You got the wheel here, right? And yes, I labeled it because I would have forgot to. Up here is the hitch where it's going to hook up to the tractor, four-wheeler, or whatever. It's going to be 4 feet long. It's going to be 3 feet tall. All right. This wheel is just going to be off a lawn tractor or something that I scrapped. There's not going to be any doors on the side. Now, angle iron I'm going to have running just along the bottom of the frame just to support it, obviously. Now it says jack right there. What I'm going to do, because this is going to be 4 feet long and it's going to be gravity fed, I guess I don't know if you'd call it gravity fed after this, but I'm only going to put some kind of pivot system on the back. Alright, probably I'll run the frame until just past the wheel, alright, and then I'll put some kind of pivot system, and then I'll just let the end of the box kind of hang over, alright, and what that'll do is I can come up here when this box is full, and I can jack it up to get feed to fall out of the bottom, out of the door, alright. Now I can't have the pivot system too far forward or it's going to pivot and that front is going to hit the ground because it's only going to be on lawnmower tires. It's not going to be very high up off the ground. But I can't have it too far back, otherwise it's just not going to have enough pivot to supplement for the jack. You get what I mean? Because the jack can only go so high. So say the jack can go, say you got your pivot system just right before that line right there, right? Just so you got a pivot system right there, and the jack can only go this high. Well, you're not going to get all that feed out of there, and you're going to have to take a broom in there or something. And it's not that big of a deal, but why not avoid it if you can avoid it, right? The other thing is, I don't know if I said this or not, I'm going to run angle iron down there just to support the frame, probably 4 or 5 strips. So yeah, and I'm not going to use the actual angle, I'm going to cut it at the crease so it's actually flat iron, and that'll just save me some money, because angle iron's pretty cheap, so I mean, I'm on a budget here. If you come over to the left side, it's exactly the same thing, just a different view. Alright, I wonder if it'll help if I turn the light on. Maybe. Just a different view. Alright, so you got your wheel, the angle iron running on the frame, you got your hitch, the jack is going to go up. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take, it's a floor jack, right? I'm going to take the wheels off the jack, okay, and then I'm going to make some kind of base there or whatever. I'm going to weld the jack where the wheels would go. It's metal, so I'm going to weld that to the frame, and then the base, kind of like where the jack would hook up or would meet on the car frame or whatever, I'm going to weld to the bottom of the box. Okay. Now I know that the even when the jack's all the way down, the box is going to be at somewhat of a slant, and that's completely okay with me because it's just that much less that I have to jack it up, right? Now the base on the jack, where it's going to hook up with the box to jack it up, it does tilt like a regular floor jack, so that'll work, and I'll just weld it there and probably put some angle there maybe just to support it a little bit, but I probably won't need it. On the bottom here, alright, I got my angle iron strips running down there. Now those are needed just to support it. Maybe not this many, maybe only 3 or 4, but I'm going to need some, okay? Because say I got 500 pounds of corn in here, alright, well, I don't want to have a hole in the bottom of my box because I'm using either 16 or 18 gauge sheet metal, okay? Not thin stuff, but not that thick either. So just support it and it'll be just fine. Guarantee it. As long as the supports are strong enough too, of course. But they should be. I got my axle running across. All I'm gonna do for the axle is take a piece of wrought iron, tap and die it, just like they do on a lawnmower, and then slide the wheel on and bolt it on, just like they do on a lawnmower. Now this is going to be 4 feet, and I'm only going to use one axle. I'm not going to have one in the front, to put it simply, just because A, I'm on a time constraint here, and B, I'm on a budget, and C, I don't know how I would get another axle up there because the front one would have to swivel as the whatever's towing it turns, and I'm not going to take that on yet, but being pressured with time, that's about it. It's going to be 3 feet wide, 4 feet tall, I do believe. Or, well, that'll be 4 feet. And that's about all for the bottom. Now, I'm not going to do anything going across because I think going down will be just fine. On the back, I'm going to, this was just kind of an extra thing. I'm thinking maybe I'll have some iron supports there because you figure it's going to be dumping backwards, and that's going to be pressure on the back. So I figured I'd just put some support there, right? Probably not that much, maybe only 2 or 3, but just some support because that weight's going to be coming back on it when I tilt the box. That's going to be the door, okay? I know my finger is kind of gross. I smashed it, but this is going to be the door right here, and I'm thinking it'll probably just swing open to where you can pick it up, kind of like the door on a dump truck. It'll just swing open. Now I'm thinking what we'll do is I know we'll put some kind of latch system on there. But so what you'll be able to do, you'll be able to go up front, jack it up however high it needs to be, come back, unlatch it, open the door, and then push it shut when you need to, right? And, it's a floor jack, so obviously it's hydraulic, and you can just let it down hydraulically, right? And then it's going to be 3 feet wide and 3 feet tall. The box is going to be 3 feet tall. I don't know how tall it's going to be once I get the wheels underneath, but not much taller, maybe 3.5 feet. On the front, nothing special at all. Just there's a little view of where the jack's going to go. Then the hitch, and that's about it. Same measurements as before. And yeah. The jack's going to be right in the middle, so it's nice and central. It's not lifting up one side or the other. And yeah, that's just about it. It's a very, very simple project. It looks so complicated. Looking at this paper here I got, which is actually, I'll just show you here, one of the magazines I get. It's actually a poster that came in one of the magazines, so I'm not a Ford guy. I was going to actually hang it up because it's kind of a calendar too, but whatever. But no, so I mean it looks complicated, but it's really not. I'm going to get a 4x8 sheet of the sheet metal, either 16 or 18 gauge. They cost about the same, but I went there the other day and they were out of one of them. I just don't remember which one. So I need to kind of keep weight into consideration too, because I'm going to have to tow this thing. But I'm going to get a 4x8 sheet of metal. It's going to be 4 feet long. So right away I'll just cut it in half. Okay? It's going to be 3 feet wide. I'll just cut a foot off the side. Boom, I got my base. Right? And then, from there I can just start kind of building up, and with the sides and the front and the back, and eventually once I get everything together, cut the hole for the door in the back. Now I really want to try and do this on a with one 4x8 sheet of metal. Alright, and I honestly don't know. I might have to do I'll probably have to do some things different. With a 4x8 sheet, okay, so it's going to be 4 feet long, and I'll cut it in half and cut a foot off the side to make 3 feet for the base, right? So I'll have a 4 by I'll have a 4x4 piece of metal, and then a 1x4 piece of metal, right? So then I'll have the 4x4, and the sides are 3 feet tall, so I won't have enough. So actually, I'm going to just change this right now. The sides are going to be 2 feet tall. That's what I'll do. The sides will be 2 feet tall, and then I'll be able to just take that 4x4 piece and cut it straight down the middle and weld a piece on. Oh, sorry, you probably didn't even see that. And then just weld a piece on each side for the sides. Now it's going to be 2 feet tall on the sides. For the front and back, all I'm going to have is a 1x8 sheet. So what I could do, I could cut. How wide is it going to be? It's going to be 3 feet wide. I could cut a 3 foot, or I guess it would be 3 1-foot sections of the 1x8. Weld the 3 sections on top of each other, and then weld it for the front and back, and then cut on top. Now what I really want to try to do, as much as I can, is weld on the inside, just so the welds aren't visible. I mean, I'm a good MIG welder, and I can make my welds look very, very nice, and then they'll be painted over and grinded too, so they won't be that noticeable, but that's just kind of what I want to do. So that's what I'm going to do. 2 feet tall sides. 4 foot long trailer. That's what I'll do. And then, the angle iron stuff will stay the same. The door will stay the same. It'll just be smaller. Now, would I rather have 4 foot sides? Of course. I could put more in it. Can I do it though? No. Just because I simply won't have the metal. I can't afford. It's $50 for a sheet, and I can't completely afford it, right? So, yeah. And then I'll always be able to add more on there. That's not a big deal. Maybe 2 foot sides might work absolutely perfect, or 4 foot sides might be better, but why not start small, right, I guess, but that's what we'll do. That is what we will do. 2 foot sides, all around, 4 feet long, 3 feet wide, angle running along the bottom for support, a couple pieces of angle running along the back for support, door in the back for the feed to fall out, jack in the front to jack it up like a dump truck. It'll pivot back here, right behind the wheel, and then the feed will fall right out. Now, once you get down to where there's not much feed in there, you're going to have some leftover feed and stuff, but, I don't think it'll get down that much very often. So, yeah, that's the plan. If anyone has any comments, suggestions, ideas, questions, whatever, drop me a line and leave a comment, and thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.